So let me open your assignment. Here is your assignment. So I'm gonna tell you few things, make sure you note down. But anyway, I will also send you this assignment once it finished. So first thing, remember that your assignment value is 50%, right? And I will send you assignment before 1st of September. I'm working on it. I hope I can send you assignment by tomorrow. So, which means your release date, even I'm writing 1 is okay. And your submission deadline is 10th of September. So you have a 10 days to complete your assignment. And next week, Wednesday and Saturday, we have a class. So during the class, if you have any questions, you can discuss with me. So make sure before you come to the class, you have a look, you start working and you start reading your assignments. If you have anything you do not understand, anything is unclear to you, so you can ask me questions on Wednesday and Saturday, right? Okay, so make sure you note down your submission deadline, right, which is 10th of September. Now, this information is very important. This is a group-based assignment. Each group, you know that, maybe 3 or 4 or 4 or 5, it doesn't really matter, right? So it's a group assignment. That's important, right? It's a group assignment and you know your group members, right? So make sure this assignment is not done by individual person. It's a group assignment because this assignment have a many tasks. So I don't think so. If it is only one student in a group, try to finish, may not have enough time because you have a 10 days. So you may not finish this assignment in a 10 days. But anyway, it's a group assignment. You know that. So this is number 1. Now, number 2, the assignment contribution section is in the form must be filled in individually by each of the member. So assignment contribution section. So here is your assignment contribution section. Assignment contribution section. You have to fill it. Every group member need to fill it. So you have to write your group name, whatever letter A to Z, I guess A to K. So make sure you write your group name here, A, B, C, whatever, right? Now, student name, student ID, and member 1 work done. Work done means what you have done in this assignment, right? Your contribution, your work, your task that you have done, the questions that you have done, all right? So make sure in this box, when you write your work done, make sure you are not just simply telling me I'm doing question 1, question 2, question 4, for example, that's it. No, you have to explain in detail. If question 1, what you have done in question 1, question 2, what you have done in question 2, question 3, what you have done in question 3. So it's a detailed work, your detailed explanation, right? Detailed explanation. Why? Because sometime, like as for example, question 1, 2 students or 3 students are doing question 1, all right? So if you are writing question 1, question 1, so I may not understand what this student has done in question 1, what this student has done in question 1, and what this student has done in question 1. I may not be able to understand it. So that's why you have to provide detailed explanation. And same thing with the second group members, his or her contribution, third group member, contribution, and fourth or fifth, depends how many group members you have, right? So you have to fill this one in very detail, all right? Remember, if you provide me less information, you may not have good marks or full marks because I may not understand your contribution. For example, question 1, 3 students done question 1 and they are writing only Q1, 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 and you do not explain what is in Q1. So all of these students will get low marks because I don't know what first student has done in question 1, second student in question 1, and what is the contribution of third student in question 1, all right? So that's why if you want, you get reasonable marks, fair marks, or high marks, if your contribution is high, so you have to write down, because sometimes some student has a high contribution and some student has a low contribution. So if you have high contribution, you have to explain me what you have contributed, so you're gonna get a fair marks. And the student has a less contribution, of course, he or she gonna write something less, gonna explain me not much, that student will get less marks, right? So you have to provide me complete information of the work that you have done in this assignment. All right, so that's the meaning of assignment contribution. It's important. It's important. If you do not fill these columns, I may give you 0 marks. 0 everybody. If you leave it blank, you just simply write your name. If you simply write your name and your student ID and then you leave it blank, or just writing 1 or 2 words, you will get very, very low marks. In fact, you can get a 0 score, right? So this sheet, this section is very important. Keep in mind, all right? This section is very important. So you have to fill this section. So everybody understand? Regarding number 2 is okay? Any questions regarding number 2? Okay, so let's move on to number 3. Please take a note that copying of the work of others, allowing others to copy your work, and or attempting to do any of above mentioned will result in automatic failure of your assignment. So make sure you do not copy from others and don't let others copy your work, all right? Don't let them do. If you do that, you will be automatic failure. If I found that you copy paste from other group members, all right? So you will be plagiarized. Plagiarized means in your assignment, you will get a 0 marks, no matter how good is your assignment. You may not copy from another student, but maybe you help another group member to do assignments and they exactly copy and paste your assignment, all right? So the idea is, if you want, you can discuss with other group member to raise the ideas, to attempt the whole assignment, but make sure you do not exchange your files with other group member. Keep file within a group members. You can only exchange with your group members. Do not send your file, your solution, your answers to another group member, no matter how good friends they are, all right? Do not believe them, all right? Otherwise, if your assignment is very good and other group members are really lazy and they copy paste your assignment, you work so hard, but because of them, you also fail. Of course, they fail too, but you also fail, all right? So please keep your work confidential. Keep your work only within a group members, all right? Within the group. Do not send to other group members, all right? So it's very important. And second thing, another thing about point number 3 is all sources or material used will be clearly quoted and referenced. So which means If you have a calculation questions, of course, you don't have to give me any reference. If you have to give any comments or if you have any theory questions, I need a reference. All right. You can use textbook, you can use lecture slides, you can use any article journals, or you can go to internet. All right. You can go to any websites. But idea is that wherever source from where you are using information, make sure you have to give me a reference for it. All right. Reference means how do you know this information? So you have to provide me reference, right? And one more thing, if you are taking any information from internet, make sure do not copy and paste. Lazy students, they read information on internet, they exactly copy, paste, convert into paragraph, and then they complete the task. Don't do that. If you do that, of course, if I came to know that you exactly copy and paste from internet, you will get 0 marks. In fact, it's a plagiarism. All right. So you can read information from internet and then you have to paraphrase. Means you have to write in your own words. Do not just simply copy sentence and paste it. You are not allowed to do that. All right. So that's why you read information, you paraphrase it, and you give me reference of these informations. All right. So that's very important for number 3. All right. Number 3 is finished. Any questions regarding number 3? Any question? Any questions? Yes or no? Say something. Okay. Then move on to number 4. Number 4 is late submission will not be accepted unless there are some legitimate mitigating factors. You're not allowed to submit your assignments after this date. If you will submit, then I will not accept late submission. So make sure you meet your deadline, right? Don't miss your deadline. All right, and do not give me any excuse that your laptop has a problem, your laptop drive crash, or you lose files, you lose your USB. I don't know. All right, so make sure you keep the backup of your old files. All right, so this is your responsibility, your work, but submission deadline may not be changed. Right, it's fixed. Right. Next, number 5, very important. Number 5 is about how to submit your assignment. All right, how you gonna submit your assignment. So number 5, you submit your group work only while sending me only one email each group. All right, with this subject title. All right, so which means one group, only one email, right? If one group have a 4 group member, do not send me 4 emails. Anybody from this group 4 member, anybody from this 4 members can send me email. Do not send me 4 different email from the same group. All right, same with the other group. So one email from one group. Everybody understand? So one email, all right, one email from one group. One email from one group. Then you send me email. So make sure your email subject title must be UFM, University of Finance and Marketing. You are Monday class or Thursday class. Let's say you are a Thursday class, all right? So UFM underscore Thursday class underscore your group name. Is it group A, group B, group C, group D? All right. This subject title, very important. If you will not write this subject title and you just submit your assignment by writing something else. Okay. So make sure you use this subject title, which is UFM underscore Thursday class and your group, whatever is your group name. If you will not use this subject title and you submit your assignment to me, I may not get your assignment or I may not read your assignment because I do not know what this is and who is this assignment belongs to, right? So, and then you will say, teacher, why I didn't get any score, or why I got zero, or why I got absent, or so on, because you are not writing the correct email title. So this is your email title. By reading this email title, I can easily recognize you because I'm going to receive many emails. So I can easily recognize your group member and I will save this file or this email. So it's easy for me to mark. All right. So that's why I follow this subject title. And finally, your submission time. All right. Make sure when you send me email, you submit your assignment on 10th of September between 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. All right, only in the morning session period. Do not send me email after 12 p.m. If you submit your assignment after 12 p.m., I will not accept your assignment. All right, so the idea is your submission deadline is 10 September before 12 p.m. only morning session. All right, before 12 p.m. If I receive any email after 12, remember 12 p.m., not 12 a.m. All right, so only morning session on 10th of September. If you submit 10th September afternoon, you missed deadline and you got zero. All right, so strictly follow the time and the date. So that's all about your submission. So 3 things keep in your mind again. First is 1 email from 1 group member, right? 1 email from 1 group member. Second one is your assignment subject. When you send me email, your email subject title, right? Email subject title is this, UFM underscore Thursday class underscore your group name. You don't need to write your name, right? And you don't need to write anything else too. You just subject title, attach your file, and you send it to me, right? You don't have to write, teacher, my name is this, and I'm studying this and that. No, you don't need to do. Subject title, attach file, send me email, that's it, right? And third thing is timing, which is 9 to 12, only morning session, all right? Morning session. All right, do not submit afternoon session on 10th. This is date is 10th of September. All right, so this is 3 things very important regarding your submission deadline. All right, so that's all about number 5. Any question? Number 5. So no questions. Let's move on to number 6. So number 6 is submit your assignment only in 1 PDF file. All right. So when you submit your assignment, you have to follow PDF file. All right. The type or the context of the file must be PDF and only 1 file. All right. You can, for example, you do your assignment in the Word documents and then you save in PDF file. All right. You save is in PDF file and then you attach this one in your email and then you send it to me. All right. So make sure you submit only 1 file. You can write whatever you like in that file. Do not submit more than one file. If you submit more than one file, it's unnecessary because I'm not gonna read at all. If you are sending me 3 or 4 files, I'm only looking for PDF file. If no PDF file, I will not download and I will not read you. Means you get 0 marks, right? So just one file which is in PDF format, right? PDF context, all right? So that's all about, so one file, one group, obviously. Right? So that's all about number 6. Number 6 finish. So these are the very important instruction. So anybody has any question regarding these 6 instructions? Anything is unclear? Or when I will send you assignment, this instruction also given in the assignment. So you can read it again when you receive your assignment. This is your complete assignments, like exactly like this. So any questions regarding these instructions? No questions. So let's move on. Your assignment questions. So I haven't done the questions. I'm working on it. It hasn't finished, but you're gonna have around maybe 5 to 6 questions. All right, 5 to 6 questions, nearly 5 to 6, and yes, and then you can start working with your assignments. And in your assignment topic will be topic 1 to topic 5, right? Topic 1 to topic 5 will be cover your assignment. So topic 1 was introductions to financial management. Topic 2 was about financial market and financial institutions, right? Topic 3 was about present values, future value. Topic 4 about stock valuations, all right? And topic 5 was about capital budgeting techniques, all right? So we're gonna cover, you're gonna have 5 topics in your assignment. So it's like 5 to 6 questions, right? So that's all about your assignment. Any questions, or we move on to next topic? So no questions. So let's move on to next, our topic. Okay, so next topic is topic 7. Topic 7. So topic 6, which was a source of finance, is not part of your assignment, right? But it made part of your final exam. So next week, Saturday, whenever we have a last lecture, we will discuss about your final exam. So I will provide you some information of your final exams, like how many questions, how many topics, open book, closed book, calculation, no calculations, and multiple choice question or long answers questions or case studies, whatever. So all the informations I will provide you in our last session. Right? So make sure do not skip any session, even though you can ask me any questions if you have a question regarding your assignment. Right? So don't be absent in the last week, next week. So let's start with the topic 7. So topic 7 is working capital management. I already sent you assignment of the lecture slides before, so you can download and you can save it. I hope you already downloaded it. Working capital management. Working capital management. Now, what does it mean, working capital management? Why it's important to manage it? So in order to understand working capital management, we have to understand what is working capital, right? Of course, this working capital is different than your equity and finance. Because your equity and finance are your long-term capital, or it's like an external source of finance. So first of all, we also call it working capital system, I guess. But anyway, I think working capital management is the right title of this topic. So in order to understand this one, we have to understand why it's important to manage working capital. Why it's important to manage working capital, all right? Of course, financial manager involved in managing working capital, all right? Same like as financial manager manage company finance, company capital. So let's say capital. We have long-term capital, we have equity and debts. Equity finance and debt finance. And we have working capital, right? Working capital. You know that. Financial manager responsible for managing all these kinds of capital by making a different kind of investment. Or in addition, financial manager also responsible to make balance between equity and debts. All right, so that's the part of the financial management. And how manager to do that? Manager using different approach to manage this working capital, to use this equity and debts capital. All right, like as choosing a different method. We also call it capital budgeting techniques that we covered in the last lecture. Right? No, topic 5. So working capital also important to manage, and of course is managed by the financial manager. But the question is why it is important to manage. Okay. Idea is working capital is a capital that we need for day-to-day business activities. All right, day-to-day business activities. All right, regular activities. We need capital. We need finance. So what are the day-to-day business activity? Maybe we need capital for salary, paying salary for employees, maybe some bills, right? maybe interest payments, right? Maybe interest payments, right? Maybe some tax, right? So we cannot choose another form or other than cash option to pay for such kinds of obligations, right? We need a cash. We can use only cash to make a payments for salary, for bills, for interest and taxes. We may not use inventory, like as I give example of inventory dividend. We cannot use share to make a payments of such kinds of cost, like as I give example of bonus shares. We can't use it, all right? So we require a cash, all right? So that's why it's important to manage it. That's the reason it's important to manage in order to make a payments for these kinds of options, all right? Okay, so now the question is, what is working capital? So working capital equals to current assets minus current liability, all right? Working capital equals to current assets minus current liability. So after subtracting current liability, whatever money is left, that's called working capital, all right? Okay, so working capital could be positive or negative. Positive working capital means when your current assets is more than current liability, means working capital is positive, which means we having a sufficient cash for our day-to-day activities, sufficient liquidity to make a payments of various things on daily basis, right? And when current liability is greater than current assets, that's called negative working capital, right? That's called a negative working capital. Negative working capital means, of course, our outflows is more than inflows. So which means we're running out of money. So we need a money, right? So if we are running out of money, how can we get money? And again, we have to choose different source of finance that we already discussed in the previous sessions. If we choose the different source of finance, of course, each source of finance has a cost. And if company cost increase, its profit decrease. All right. So, which means if your working capital management system, if your working capital management system is very bad, all right, it's very bad. So it will give very negative impact on company profitability. All right, it will give very negative impacts of company profitability, and which is the one of the common or the minimum indicators to measure the performance of the company. So by looking at the profitability of the companies, different investors, they make a decision to invest, right? So that's why if you are unable to manage your working capital, that will give very negative impacts on the users, whatever investment they have made it in their business. It's really, I mean, it's really negative gestures to the users if your working capital is negative or working capital management is not so good. So that's why it's important to manage working capital. All right. Okay. So now, what we're going to do, we will study before we find the way to manage working capital, because we understand why it's important to manage. We already understand why it's important to manage, right? So now the question is how we manage. How do we manage? Of course, if you want to manage your working capital, which means you have to manage your current assets and current liability. All right. If you want to manage your working capital, you have to manage your current assets and current liability. All right. Okay. So it's really important to understand what is current assets and what is current liability. It's important to understand it. So I will explain you current assets and current liability, and then we move on to how we manage working capital, right? So before we move on to current assets and current liability, anybody has any question? Okay, so let's move on to current assets. So A is current assets. Now, what does it mean, current assets? Current assets is assets or short-term assets which can current asset is the assets which can easily convert into cash without losing its significant value. Right? In simple words, the assets we can quickly convert into cash, easily convert into cash. That's called the current asset. Another name of current asset is a short-term asset. So sometimes we call it current assets and sometimes we call it short-term assets, right? So what inside current assets? So current assets involve cash, all right? We also call it liquidity. Cash represent the liquidity of the company, all right? So cash is your current asset, right? Second current asset is accounts receivable. Remember account receivable? What does it mean? Anybody? What is the meaning of accounts receivable? Any idea? Tell me, what is account receivable? Okay. Money we sell on credit, not money we sell on credit, the product we sell on credit. Then customer will become account receivable. So what does it mean, account receivable? Account receivable are those people from whom we have to receive money in future. All right. So that's why in future means not, obviously not more than 1 year, is within a year, right? We're going to receive money from these people within a year, right? So that's called accounts receivable. So another way to understand is that account receivable occur when we credit sales, when we have a credit sales. Credit sale means we sell on credit, same thing. Sell on credit means we sell now, but we receive later, right? So that's called credit sales. So that's called account receivable. And third components of current assets is a closing inventory. Closing inventory. Now, what does it mean, closing inventory? Closing inventory is a inventory which is left at the end of the period. Unused raw material or unsold product, that's called closing inventory. So that belongs to company. It's company assets. Why it's a short-term assets? Because sooner or later, company gonna sell its inventory. All right, so that's why it's a closing inventory. So remember, closing inventory means any kinds of inventory which is left at the end of the period, which is left, right? Left. Of course, it belongs to company, and soon company gonna sell it. All right. So these are the current assets. Now, current liability. Current liabilities. So what does it mean, current liability? Current liability means any kinds of liability which is due within a year, or we need to pay off within a year, right? Within a year, all right? So that's why we call them current liability. Also call it short-term liability, all right? Another way to understand current liability is, in accounting language, we call it a current liability lead to such economic outflow, economic uh, benefits outflow, or outflow of economic benefits that's going to occur in a shorter period of time. This is called current liability. Any kinds of actions that lead to outflow of economic benefits in short period of time, right? Is opposite of current assets, which means current assets lead to economic benefits or inflow of economic benefits that's lead to occur in a shorter period of time. So inflow of benefits in short period, current assets. Outflow of benefits in short period, current liability, because the benefits outflow. Right? Benefits means whatever money you are making, so you have to use that money to pay off your liability. That's the meaning of outflow of economic benefits. Right? Okay. So now, the what are the current liability? So current liability, we have various things, but I only focus on the items which more relevant to working capital, right? So in this current liability, first of all, we have accounts payable. Accounts payable, right? You know accounts payable, what does it mean? What is the meaning of accounts payable? Anybody? Any idea? We bought on credit. That's right. Accounts payable means credit purchase. Credit purchase. All right. And which is need to pay, which is outstanding or due. Right. Okay. Next is a bank overdraft. Bank overdraft. Also your current liability. Right. So what is bank overdraft? Tell me. Idea of bank overdraft. Anybody? Any idea? Bank overdraft. Anybody knows what is bank overdraft? Tell me. Do you know bank overdraft? Yes or no? Say something. Why no? Go back to the previous withdraw money from bank. No, it's not kind of withdraw money from bank. Give me right explanation of bank overdraft. Go back to your uh, previous topic, source of finance. Find what is bank overdraft and tell me. Tell me. Did you find bank overdraft? Commercial credit card, what does it mean? Yes, that's right, commercial credit card. But but can you explain to me what does it mean? Extension on credit. Yes, that's right. Extension on credit, right? Without mortgage any assets. All right. Yes, that's right. Bank overdraft. So sometimes we call it overdraft, or sometimes we call it bank overdraft. So same thing, right? So bank overdraft also your current liability. Why? Because you're gonna make a payments of kinds of such kinds of borrowing in a short period of time. Why? Because if you take longer period, the period that bank gave you, let's say 2 or 3 months, if you're taking a longer period, then the suggested period by the bank, in this case you're going to pay a high interest. All right, so your obligations will increase. So nobody likes to uh, pay extra interest. So everybody try to make a payments on time, which is within 2 or 3 months, depends whatever is period bank is offering you. All right. So that's why sometimes we call it bank overdraft is the only source of finance which is cheap, or it's a cheapest source of finance. Why? Because it has a 0% interest, or it's an interest-free loan, interest-free short-term loan. But of course, everybody not going to get that bank overdraft. It depends upon person to person, especially students. They're not going to get this bank overdraft things since they don't have a regular source of income. So bank may not feel so good to issue that kind of overdraft benefits to the customer, to the students. All right. So these are the ideas for the current assets and current liability. All right. So let's move on to next. So next is now how to manage, like that I explained you before, right? Now we're going to learn how do we manage. So how to manage. How to manage working capital. In order to manage this working capital, we have to manage our elements, right? Elements of working capital. If you manage the elements of working capital, you're able to manage your working capital. And what are the elements of working capital? These are the elements. These are the elements of working capital. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if we able to manage these elements, we will be able to manage your working capital, right? So how we manage these elements? We're gonna manage these elements by checking the level of these elements. So which means if the level of these elements too high or too low, which is not good. So for example, cash. If you're holding too much cash or you're holding too less cash, which is bad. All right. So we have to right amount of cash. We need to hold it. If you hold the right amount of cash, you will be able to manage your working capital. Same thing, other elements as well. Same thing, account receivable, closing inventory, accounts payable, and bank overdraft. If you keep the right amount or right level of each of these elements, we're able to manage our working capital. If the level of these elements are not right, are not accurate, or not appropriate, so in this situation, we may not. So now we talk about each and every single elements, all right? So which means, I repeat, if we are holding too much or too little, too less of these elements, so that may give negative impacts over the working capital. As a result, company profitability may be affected, all right? So let's talk about the first elements, which is closing inventory or inventory. Closing inventory or inventory. Inventory. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a look about the cost or the problem occur from holding too high inventory or too low inventory? So let's start with the first one, which is cost of holding high inventory. Cost of holding high inventory. So the first cost of holding high inventory is a storage cost. High storage cost. If you are holding very high inventory, your storage cost will increase it. Storage cost means cost of storing the inventory or cost of taking care of the raw material. It could be like maybe electricity bill, maybe security guards, maybe you have to manage your ventilation system, you have to arrange the ventilation system, air conditioning system of the store department, then maybe rotations. You have to rotate the stock, so make sure we are using the uh, right date stock. So make sure stock not be outdated, right? So we have to rotate it, right? So such kinds of cost will lead to the high storage cost, right? Second one is a high insurance cost. Insurance cost high. Of course, if you are holding too much inventory, you have to buy insurance. Maybe insurance protect from any kinds of accident, like as maybe fire in the factory. In order to uh, protect your inventory from any kinds of fire damage in a factory, we will buy insurance. As a result, your cost will increase it, which is give negative impacts over the company profitability. Next is obsolescence. Obsolescence. Obsolescence means any kinds of damaged inventory. For example, such as any kinds of natural disaster, all right, that damage your inventory, right? So insurance company may not give you insurance from such kinds of calamity or natural disaster. Another example is maybe your inventory damage because your storage system is not so good. Your ventilation system is not so good, right? And more practical example is, let's say, mouse. They eat your raw material. Anything that belongs to the food item and stuff, that could be damaged. That could be obsolescence. So that's lead to increase the inventory cost. As a result, company profitability may be affected. So this is the problem for holding a high inventory. If inventory level is too high, all right? Maybe we have some more cost, but we focus on the main or the minimum amount of cost to understand why it's important to manage the inventory. Next is which is B. That is uh, cost of holding less inventory. Cost of holding low inventory. Right. Cost of holding low inventory. If you hold a less inventory, what will be happen? First thing is, if you hold a less inventory and sudden demand increase in the markets, so suddenly you got a big offer, maybe order to produce the product, right? So you require a large amount of inventory. However, you're holding very less amount of inventory. So in this situation, you will lose customer. As a result, your revenue will be negatively affected, right? You will lose your revenue, right? So if you're holding less inventory, you lose customer or loss of customer. Loss of customer. As a result, your sales negatively affected, right? Revenue negatively affected. Second one, ordering cost. Ordering cost. Ordering cost is the cost that we have to bear in order to order the raw material. All right. So let me give you another practical example, that are life-based example. For example, you live quite far from the supermarket. All right. You have a two option when you go to supermarket. Option one is you buy lots of item, lots of grocery. So you buy too much and you store at home. So you don't have to go again and again. All right. Or second option is that you do not buy too much inventory. Why? Because you may not have enough place to store at home. You don't have good storage, big storage. So you have to go to markets, you have to go to supermarket every time. So if you go to supermarket every time, of course, you are wasting a lot of time, all right? You're wasting your money to pay for gas for your motorbike, all right? So as a result, this is called the ordering cost. The cost we spend to order the raw material, communication cost, communicate one manager to another manager to order it again and again, right? Second one is the transportation cost. You have to hire transportations to go and buy the product, I mean the raw material. As a result, ordering cost will increase it if you order again and again, right? That's the problem, right? That's the problem if we are holding a low amount of inventory. So what could be the solution for it? Let's talk about the solution. So problem is, if you're holding high inventory, these are the problems. Holding less inventory, these are the problems. So what is the solution? Solution called inventory management system. Inventory management system, right? We will apply this inventory management system in order to manage our inventory. If we are able to manage our inventory, of course, we will be able to manage our working capital. So how can we, what inside the inventory management system? So in this inventory management system, we have a EOQ. EOQ. EOQ stands for economic, order, quantity. Now, what is economic order quantity? What you learn from cost of holding high inventory and cost of holding low inventory. We learned that if you hold too much inventory, your storage cost increase. If you hold too less inventory, your ordering cost increase. So storage cost and ordering costs are opposite to each other, right? And what is economic order quantity? Economic order quantity means we order any kinds of quantity, which is economic, which means not expensive, not from the storage point of view, not from the ordering point of view, right? So it means if we order, that's economic order quantity, that much quantity. If we order that amount of material, we have a low storage cost and low ordering cost, right? So what does it mean? In other words, we can say that economic order quantity is the quantity which brings your storage cost equals to ordering cost, right? Which brings storage cost equals to the ordering cost. So we can understand this economic order quantity with the help of graph. So I'm going to draw a graph here. So this is quantity, right? And this is the cost. X-axis quantity and y-axis is cost. And this curve called storage cost. Why storage cost? As your quantity is increasing, your cost of storage is increasing. That's why this curve is in this direction, upward, right? And this curve for ordering cost, it's like this, right? This is your ordering cost. What does it mean? If you order too much inventory, your cost will be much, right? If you order too less, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you order less quantity, your cost will be high, right? So they react in the opposite directions, right? So now what is economic order quantity? The points where these two kinds of cost, they meet each others. That's called a EOQ. So what does it mean? If you order that number of quantity, that will be your cost. That is the perfect quantity. Why? Because if you go beyond these quantities, if you increase it, your storage cost increase. If you order less than this, your ordering cost will increase. All right, so that's why this graph represent economic order quantity. But we have also formula for economic order quantity, but for this moment, don't worry about the formula, just understand the graph. All right, so that is the ideas for economic order quantity. Is it clear? Did you understand? Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So second element. Second element is accounts receivable. Accounts receivable. So now, account receivable means company sell product on credit, right? Which means we have sales, right? We sell on cash or sell by cash, sell on cash or on credit, right? So if company allow too much credit, our account receivable will increase. If company allow less credit, cash increase, account receivable, of course, decrease. All right. So on credit means when company allow too much credit and company do not allow credit. When company do not allow credit, which is called cash, as a result, account receivable decrease. If company allow too much credit, as a result, account receivable increase. All right. So that's what we're gonna study here in B. If B do not allow and company allow credit and do not allow credit. Right. So let's start with the first one, which is A. When company, let's say, start with allow credit. Allow credit means account receivable. If you are holding too much account receivable, you sell most of your product on credit. As a result, high account receivable. Allow credit means high account receivable. So this is called cost of allowing credit, right? Cost of allowing credit. So first, cost is a cost of interest. Interest means bank. As a result, cash. Cost of interest will increase. High interest. Why high interest? Because if you are allowing credit, as a result, your account receivable will increase. Account receivable will increase, which means cash inflow will decrease. You're not going to get cash, all right? If you're increasing account receivable, your cash sales will increase. Cash sales will decrease. Your cash inflow will decrease. So what does it mean, cash inflow decrease? If cash inflow decrease and you require any kinds of investment, you require cash to make any kinds of investment, you have an investment opportunity, but you don't have a cash. Why? Because most of your sales is on credit. So what options do you have available? So one of the common option is that you go to bank and you borrow bank loan. And what is the results of bank loan? Cost of bank loan is a high interest. So high interest increase if you are allowing too much credit to customers. All right. Second problem is a loss of purchasing power. Purchasing power. So remember, company cash, if company holding cash or company hold liquidity, that represent company purchasing power. Purchasing power means what you can buy. Of course, if you have a cash, you have a high purchasing power. You can buy more. If you have less cash, you may not be able to buy more, right? Because people don't like to sell on credit. People prefer cash. So if you are allowing too much credit to the account receivable, you have a less cash inflows. As a result, your purchasing power will be negatively affected. All right. So this is the problem of allowing credit. Next is a cost of assessing customer. Assessing customer. Now, what does it mean, cost of assessing customer? Cost of assessing customer means, of course, before companies sell its product to the customer on credit, company need to assess the customer, all right, in order to understand the credibilities of that customer. So you may receive money on time or not. Company need to find out. All right. So if company is planning to maximize its sales on credit, then company cost of assessing customer will increase. So a company has to assess many customer credit worthiness. Company has to assess many customer financial ability to return money back to company on time. So that's why company unnecessary cost of assessing customer will increase. All right, so that's completely unnecessary. If you are choosing cash sales, of course, you don't have to worry about customer ability to return money or not, because if customer has cash, you sell. Customer no cash, you don't sell. All right. Then next is a loss of cash discount. Cash discount. So now what does it mean, cash loss of cash discounts? Normally when we I think this cash discount more related to accounts payable here, not receiving, not cash discounts. Next is the bad debts. You know bad debts? Do you know what does it mean, bad debts? Yes or no? Do you know bad debts? Yes, the debts cannot pay, right? So in simple language, the people who are unable to return money back to you, maybe they have a financial problem, so their business bankrupts. So bad debts give very negative impacts on your profit. Why? Because you do not receive money, right? Or your cash inflow will be negatively affected because of debts, right? So if you are allowing too much credit, possibility of increasing bad debts, right? There is a possibility of high bad debts if you are selling more credit. Because if you're selling more credit, so probability that your bad debts ratio will be high, all right? So that's another problem. Right? So bad debts will high, your cash inflow will decrease. Right? So you may be bankrupt if your significant part of account receivable get bankrupt. All right? So they bankrupt, that's of course, that will affect your business as well. Right? So these are the problems that we occur if we are holding or we are allowing too much credit. Now, now cost of denying credit, which means if you sell more on cash, right? So denying credit. Right? Denying credit. So which means less account receivable, more cash items. Right? So first problem of denying credit, one of the major problem is a loose customer. Why lose customer? As we know that customer prefer to buy on credit instead of cash. All right. So if customer comes to you to buy product and you say that sorry, we do not sell on credit, we only sell on cash, then customer will go to another shop or another business or another company which allow customer to buy on credit. All right. So that's the reason if company is denying credit, if company is maximize its cash sales, as a result, company account receivable company account receivable overall will be affected. So working capital will be affected. We have some more, like as if you more involved in cash instead of credit, that's have some more reason as well, like as investment opportunities and business expansion and revenues and market shares and so on. But just keep the minimum information. I think that's enough. So now find the solution. Find the solution. Solution is account receivable management system. How do we manage our account receivable? So the first thing is we have to track the customer. Track the customer payments record. All right. Track the customer payment records means how long this customer is taking to return money back to us. We have to track it. And how can we do this? How can we do this? We can do with the help of accounts receivable collection period. It's basically, we call it ratio. Right? This is basically efficiency ratios. So with the help of account receivable collection period, we can understand how long this customer is taking to return money back to us. If you're tracking this customer period by period or time by time, you will be able to make the right decision that in future you have to sell product to customer on cash or on credit. Right? Another one is a policies for bad debts. Right? Policy for bad debts. Policy for bad debts means every time you have to measure this in this credit sale, how many % we have a bad debts. Every time we have to estimate, and then on the basis of that estimate, we're gonna make a provisions. All right. So if our bad debts are keep increasing from the one particular period, right, over the period, so we may have to minimize the credit sales, right? Or we have to minimize credit sale only those particular customers, right? Or maybe maybe we have to track them, right? So by making such kinds of policy will help us to manage our account receivable. As a result, we'll be able to manage our working capital. All right. So that's the ideas for managing account receivable. So account receivable is finished. Right. So now we have a break. Before break, anybody has any question? Okay, so let's go for a break and I'll see you soon. Now we start with the next elements of working capital, which is a cash. The same thing we're gonna do here. We will have a look that what is the cost of holding uh, sufficient excess cash or cost of holding insufficient cash. Right, so let's start with A. Cost of holding insufficient cash or cost of holding excess cash first. Cost of holding excess cash. What if we hold the too much cash? So the first cost could be occur, it's a inflation. So due to inflation, if you are holding too much cash, instead of investing, if you are holding, inflation will decrease your purchasing power. It will give negative impacts on the purchasing power. So as a result, the value of cash will be goes down if you're holding excess cash. So that's why instead of holding excess cash, we should invest it, right? Next is a loss of return. If we have cash, so we should keep only sufficient cash. So that's only enough for the daily activities or regular activities. But if you are holding excess cash, so which means you are losing an investment opportunity. You are losing opportunity to invest that cash. So in simple language, instead of investing, you are holding cash. If you are holding cash, that means you are sacrificing rate of return, sacrificing the return, sacrificing the profit that you can earn it by investing money. So that's why holding excess cash may lead to decrease the company return. As a result, company income profit may be reduced. All right. So these are the two reasons for holding cost of holding excess cash. Now we talk about B, which is cost of holding insufficient cash. Insufficient cash. What is the cost of holding insufficient cash? In simple language, we are not holding enough cash. We are holding a less cash. So what could be the problem? So the first problem is a cost of borrowing. Cost of borrowing. Cost of borrowing will increase. Why? Because you are not holding enough cash. So if you need a cash to make any kinds of investment, you have to borrow. If you borrow, your borrowing cost will increase. As a result, profitability will negatively affected, right? Next is a loss of cash discount. Loss of cash discounts. All right. Now, what is loss of cash discounts? For example, you want to buy a product from supplier. First option is you buy on credit. Why? Because you have insufficient cash. Okay, so for example, uh, you are buying something, all right? So you have two options. Option A, you buy on credit, you buy cash. You buy on credit, why? Because you have insufficient cash. Insufficient cash, that's why you are buying on credit, right? So always remember, if you are buying on credit instead of buying on cash, so supplier prefer the people who want to buy on cash. So in other words, we can say that supplier normally give discounts on cash purchases. Cash purchases. So what does it mean? If you are buying on cash, you're more likely to receive discounts. This is called cash discounts. If you are buying on credit, you may not have such kinds of benefits. As a result, if you have insufficient cash, you will lose opportunity to get the cash discounts. So that's normally happen if you're holding an insufficient cash. All right. Next. Next is a loss of investment opportunity. Loss of investment opportunity. Right. So as a result, as you know that insufficient cash as a result of loss of investment opportunity, because you are not holding enough cash. So you will not able to get the opportunity to make more profit by investing cash. Right. So these are the problems for, that was A, that we discussed before, excess cash, holding excess cash, and B, holding insufficient cash. So these are the problems. So let's talk about what is a solution. Let's talk about solution. Solution is a cash management system. Cash management system. Right? So under cash management system, how can we do the things? First thing is cash budgets, preparing a cash budget, right? Cash budgets. Cash budget, basically, it represents cash inflows and cash outflows, right? Cash in and cash out. By preparing a cash budgets, we will be able to understand from which sources we're gonna have cash in, from which sources we're gonna have cash out. I mean, where cash will be out, all right? So if we have more sources, it means if we have a cash inflow more than cash outflows, that is our cash budget. If cash inflows more than cash outflows, we may not keep excess cash. We will use that cash because we know that we have a sufficient cash for the outflows, right? However, if we have outflow, we may require a little bit excess cash. We have to find the way to have excess cash, a little bit cash, so we will be able to to meet the requirements for the usage of the cash, right? So that's the things that we can do with the help of cash budgets. Second thing, we can say that wisely use of bank overdraft. Remember, in the beginning of this working capital management topic, I explained that this bank overdraft is a cheapest source of finance since it has a 0% interest. Of course, because you are trying to make a payments on time, so that's why your interest is going to be 0. All right. So if you are using a wisely use this overdraft, it has a 0% interest, but it doesn't mean that you will use these amounts for the unnecessary things. 0% interest, of course, it has a condition. It has a condition. Condition is that you return money on time. If you return money on time, then you can use the benefits of this cheapest cash borrowing. All right. So it's very important that we meet the conditions. If we are meeting the condition, we're gonna have a sufficient cash, all right, without using any kinds of, or without bearing any kinds of cost related to such kinds of borrowing money options. All right. So that's the reason we can manage our cash through the cash budget and the wisely use of, or the appropriate or the right use of bank overdraft amounts. Right. So this is the that's all about the cash. Now we move on to the next. Next is accounts payable. Now we move on to the current liability, accounts payable. Accounts payable. Right. Now, same thing. Here we're gonna look that. So, purchase on credit and cash. Credit means taking credit. So which means if you are taking excess credit, right, or if you are taking no credit, no credit. All right. So that's what we're gonna do, right? Excess credit and no credit, not just a credit. I said excess credit, right? Or zero credit, 100% cash purchase, right? So cost of taking credit. Cost of taking credit. So what could be the cost if we are taking credit? So which means credit purchase. So remember in the previous this one, I explained you about loss of cash discounts. Exactly same thing happened here. All right. So loss of cash discounts, same thing. All right. Loss of cash discounts. Why? Because you are taking a excess credit, right? Taking a excess credit. If you are taking excess credit, obviously you're not going to get a benefits of discounts. So supplier will not give you any kinds of discounts because you are purchasing on credit. You lose that opportunity. All right. Second problems could be occur is administration cost. Administration cost, right? In this administration cost, of course, you are purchasing uh, supplies on credit from the various suppliers. So you have to manage each and every suppliers. You have to uh, keep update all the information. You have to track all the due dates. All right. So in simple language, you have to spend to manage your accounts payable. So your administration cost of managing your accounts payable will be increased. All right. Next, so let's talk about B. B is a cost of not taking any credit. So the first cost could be loss of free borrowing. Loss of free borrowing. What does it mean, loss of free borrowing? You remember in the last topic, topic 6, we study about trade credit. All right. Trade credit means you buy now, the value is 500, you buying now, the inventory value is 500, and you pay this 500 later. This is called trade credit, right? If you don't want trade credit, you believe in cash, maybe you borrow money, which is $500, right? And you return this 500, and then you, of course, you purchase your raw material, you purchase your supplies, right? And you return this $500 back. So let's say 10% rate of interest, which is 550. So if you borrow money and then you purchase it, you have to pay extra $50. However, if you purchase through the trade credits, under trade credits, you are purchasing the value of inventory is $500 and you pay later also $500. So your interest is zero. So that's why call that's why loss of free borrowing. Loss of free borrowing means we are not taking any kinds of credit. So that's why we are losing opportunity to borrow from supplier without any interest. All right. So that's the problem. We can face it. All right. Another reason is so lose investment opportunity. Lose investment opportunity. Why? Because you choose this option. Means you're using cash for purchase. But if you choose this option, then whatever cash you have already, you can use that cash to invest. But you are not doing that. Why? Because you are making all kinds of payment in cash. So that's why you lose investment opportunity. All right. So this kind of problems may occur if you are not taking any kinds of benefits or you are not taking any kinds of credit. Means you are purchasing 100% on cash. Of course, you can have benefits is cash discounts, but that may not be enough compared to such kinds of losses. So let's move on to the management system, accounts payable management system. So let's talk about solution. So under solution, we call it accounts payable management system. How we gonna manage our accounts payable? One of the most effective way to manage your accounts payable is a accounts payable payment period. Same like as account receivable collection period, this is a ratio. What this ratio tells us? This ratio tells us that how long you take to return money back to payables, accounts payables. How long you gonna take it? If you are taking enough time, all right, that's kind of good gestures for accounts payables, right? There's no any issues. But if you are taking too much times, so next time accounts payable may not be feel comfortable to sell you product on credit. That person will prefer only cash. So if that person is prefer only cash, maybe the cost of not taking credits will increase. All right. So that's why by tracking your payment system to your accounts payable, we can manage our accounts payable. In addition, we have to manage cash in a such way so we will be able to make a payments to our accounts payable on time. All right. So this is the way to manage your accounts payable, which may give negative or positive impacts over. If you manage in efficient way, of course, it will give a positive impacts on the working capital management system. So that's all about your elements. You have one more elements left, which is bank overdraft. Bank overdraft, but we may not discuss here because compared to the other elements, this elements is the cheapest. All right. So we may not discuss any kinds of cost or manage. Just keeping you. So in order to understand how we manage bank overdraft, so make sure you meet all the kind of conditions to return money back to the bank, right? So if you are meeting all kinds of conditions, so that means this money one of the best source of finance, short term. This is the best source for short term. All right. So that's all about your topic 3. So topic 3 is finish. All right. Topic 3 is finish. So anybody has any questions regarding this topic, working capital management system? Okay, so no questions, all right? So if no questions, then we stop here, all right? So I'll see you again next week, Wednesday afternoon, all right? And I will also send you assignments hopefully tomorrow. And then you start working with your assignment. If you have any questions, you can ask me next week, all right? So we stop here. I'll see you next week.